Taylor Swift makes music for anxious attachment girlies who are looking for a pattern, so of course, they're gonna love an Easter egg. Let's dive into it.
The Easter eggs thing is getting a little Zodiac killer at this point. I'm like, as long as they like it, you know?
I feel like I've taken crazy pills, but some of the crazy pills do make me clairvoyant. Okay, gang, so I have to admit, I am a Swiftie. Yes, it's true. It is a lifelong, chronic condition. However, on weeks like this, it is so much fun. It is so much fun. It is. It just is. For context, this week, via a podcast with her boyfriend Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift announced that she's going to be dropping her next studio album, The Life of a Showgirl. And Taylor Swift is famous for leaving Easter eggs in her promo and amongst her body of work. I actually have an entire video about it. And you guys have tolerated me talking about Taylor Swift on this channel before, so we're going to keep that up because this is like Christmas for T-Swift detectives. This is what the inside of every Swiftie's brain looks like right now. Glittery, orange, a million connections. And look at this blonde woman in the center of this entangled web. I'm not even going to be able to get to all of it. This is the fourth time that I've tried to film this and explain all this, and it keeps on being way too long. This woman has me in a chokehold, and I have been thinking about her all week. And there's some crazy theories that I'm like, that's no way. But there are some that are pretty legitimate. And there's things that as you keep on turning it over your head like a rotisserie chicken in your brain, you get more and more and more. And it's so satisfying. As I was filming this video, something clicked for me. And I was like, that is an Easter egg. I feel like I've taken crazy pills, but some of the crazy pills do make me clairvoyant. So that's a win in my book. So I might still publish the full-length thing on my ghost town of a Patreon. You can join for as low as $1. Maybe I'll make it available on here too. I don't know. Ask me for it and I'll do it. I'm a pushover. Okay, but my end game is not wasting your time. You know what I'm trying to say? All right, let's dive into it, shall we? Okay, so first of all, there have been hints that this album has been coming for years, all right? As far back as Midnights, which is the album that she released right before going on the Eras tour, a little bit of imagery that was planted in music videos from that album indicate that another album that is coming is going to be orange, all right? This is also a color that's been referenced even as far back as Reputation. But there's some imagery specifically in the Midnights music videos that are very reticent of what the aesthetic of this particular album, Life of a Showgirl, seems to be. Orange, glittery, glitz, glam, showgirl, right? Some of the more on the nose ones are her, an anti-hero dressed up in orange and talking to another character in white, and a lot of the imagery in the Bejeweled music video. She's written it all on the Eras tour, all right? And there were definitely Easter eggs on the tour, too, that this album was coming. Some of her iconic looks were orange occasionally, just like they were blue when we were leading up to the 1989 re-record release. And as well as things like she painted her nails different colors and all the colors of the different eras, and then one of them was orange, which is not a color that's been used yet. Lots of stuff, okay? However, when the new album does come out, it's not orange, it's white. It's Tortured Poets, all right? So the prevailing theory, and the theory that I get behind, is that this album, or the concept for this album, was intended to be her 11th album, but then she went through her breakup with Joe, sad boy, loving you as Blue Joe, and then she had her whirlwind romance with Maddie Healy at the beginning of the Eras tour, and when both of those ended in heartbreak, she felt like she had to process that with music, and did so via Tortured Poets, okay? So I think Tortured Poets was kind of an unexpected album. We also did get a Tortured Poets act added to the Eras tour after it came out, and there's a couple of Easter eggs there for this album coming out too. For the record, Taylor does plant Easter eggs. One of the things that she did at the end of the Eras tour was she walked through an orange door that was in the middle of the Lover House. This door ended up coming back for the promo at the beginning of this week and was a countdown clock on the Taylor Swift merch website, counting down to the merch order pre-sales and the main event, which was her going on to this podcast, which is New Heights and is hosted by Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce, who are both football players. And she mentions oh yeah, there was a speech that I gave at NYU that it was full of Easter eggs. And so it gives us an indication that this is probably going to be chock full of Easter eggs too. And all week, people have been putting it together and trying to do all of the numbers, and everything adds up to 13. And there's this that's going, and this that's going, and it is so much fun. And anyway, let me get into the biggest, most promising ones and debunk some of the ones that I think are probably not a thing. Just as a Swiftie. I've I've been a closeted Swiftie for a long time. I've never fully let people see how crazy I am about this. But you're getting a peek now. Another theory before Life of a Showgirl came out was that the next Orange album, was going to be Karma. There's a lot of videos about this online, but the prevailing theory is that that was the working title of the album that was being put together before the Kim and Kanye scandal and Reputation. There are a couple of different songs that she references Karma, including her Karma song. And in the Man music video, there's an orange Karma up at the top. And it's her complaining about her masters. She has all of her previous songs on that wall and she's peeing on it. She's saying, no scooters, Scooter Braun. Fun Easter egg, right? So that's what people thought that it might be on the Eras tour when she was dropping all of these Easter eggs in wearing orange. That on top of this time around, every time when Taylor has had an album, she's released it. She's assigned a different color emoji with that album. And there is an orange heart emoji, but the one that's been being used is the orange fire emoji. All right? So that's a little bit different. So people are thinking, well, maybe the orange heart emoji is being held off for Karma. All right?
There are people who thought that maybe the Reputation Vault tracks would be coming with Karma. So we could be getting Karma, but probably not a full Rep TV because, well...
Because, think about it like this. Reputation is all about Joe, all right? That was the muse. That was all of their sweet love songs. And you know how hard it is to just, listen to music that you used to listen to with your ex? Could you imagine trying to sing those songs again about him? Or try to finish songs and get back into that headspace and try to finish and think about oh, why did I like this person? How can I finish this story that I started? Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that she just is not interested in diving back into that part of her life. Yeah. And speaking of Reputation, there are a couple of theories that this album is supposed to be another dig at Kanye. One, it's orange, and it is the life of a blank, and people think that that is supposed to be overtaking his Life of Pablo, which is the album that he called Taylor Swift the B word on, which is what started most of the drama. And so people think that oh, now when people search the life of, it's going to come up with that. That's possible. However, a more direct dig, I personally think, partially because this year has been wild for Kanye, and he has lost almost all of his Hollywood friends from his, I won't even say antics because that is way too mild of a word, but the way that he has been conducting himself has made him a lot of enemies, all right? People think that Canceled, in all caps, one of the track list names, might be about him. It's possible. However, a more direct Easter egg, I think, is in the New Heights podcast. Taylor is wearing this Cartier Panther necklace. And this necklace, it could be related to, there's a couple of references to big cats in Taylor's work in Look What You Made Me Do and in Wildest Dreams, lots of stuff. However, it is also the same necklace that Kanye wore this past Grammys in 2025, the one where he was not invited and he was fully clothed and this necklace. And then he had his wife basically drop trow in a completely see-through dress. And it was his idea, and it was with the intention of promoting the Yeezy dress that she was wearing, completely naked on the red carpet, next to him, fully clothed with this necklace on. And yes, that is a Kanye antic, but how is it related to Taylor Swift? Before the Grammys, Kanye was only following one person on Instagram, and that was Taylor Swift, all right? And then after the Grammys, when he had his wife get naked in front of everyone, in front of the world, he changed to only be following his wife. And on Instagram, he said, I'm following the #1 most Googled person in the world. All right? And he posted screenshots of the Google data. And then he later is like, look, she's #1 most Googled person. Because normally after an award show, Taylor Swift is the most Googled person. So it was designed to have his wife be the most Googled person at the same time that it would have normally been Taylor. I think that is a call out to that, especially because one of the pieces of promo was this Google explosion and a counter for the number of people who have Googled Taylor Swift. Bianca Censori hit about 5 million views. Taylor hit 50 million or so. I'm just saying, like, that is the type of, like, a classy, subtle way of being like, all right, if we're bringing our intimate, private lives and, like, using that for show, if we're exhibiting the, like, intimacy of our partners, fine. I'm going to do a 2-hour-long podcast with my boyfriend, and I'm not going to have to objectify a woman. I'm not going to have to undress a person and objectify a woman to get views. I'm going to be able to do it just by talking. Just by talking. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. Okay. Granted, she also did mention in that podcast that she would never reference her private life as an Easter egg. Okay. So there's people who are pointing that and saying like, nah, I don't think that is a reference to Kanye. However, she's made so many references to Kanye in the past. That's what Reputation is all about, all right? So I think it's potentially that. I think the comment about, like, I wouldn't make references to my private life is more in reference to the Gaylor thing, which is a deep rabbit hole that says, like, oh, Taylor Swift's actually gay. All right?
But I absolutely do not have time to get into all that.
I'm keeping it succinct for you, because I could talk about this for hours, weeks, days. I've done it to myself for days now. And that particular topic, she's also referenced in letters, being like, no, I can't even hang out with my friends without people getting weird about it. That's as far as she's addressed it, but I think that is more of the reference that she's talking about. Another thing that people potentially think is an Easter egg is her talking on the podcast about how much she makes bread. All right? Some people are taking that to mean that there is a possibility that Taylor Swift is actually pregnant. You know? Like a bun in the oven. And before the podcast came out, I was like, yeah, there is a potential that this is going to be their baby announcement. But I don't think that she would do it like this, especially after mentioning that she wouldn't do Easter eggs as her personal life. She either is going to do the Beyonce thing and like have her baby announcements be these like beautiful like pieces of art, or she's just not really even going to emphasize that she's pregnant if she is. Plus, I think that she's going to get some mileage out of getting married and then having a baby first anyway. So I don't think she's pregnant. But people also think that there might be more to the bread thing. Another theory behind the bread talk, which is actually so cute. It's just so fun to watch them make bread puns back and forth to each other. Loving you as bread. Flower song.
It wasn't.
However, another theory behind the bread is the mascot of the 49ers, who are going to be hosting the Super Bowl this year, which we all know is a big old football thing or something. I'm not on that side. I'm sorry. All right, I'm not a football girly, but there's a couple of other clues that support this. I really like this one. One, she mentioned 47 a couple of times, which the 47th stop on the Eras tour was Levi's Stadium, which is where they're hosting the Super Bowl.
That and some other number hints.
Every 6 months.
And the Super Bowl this year is Super Bowl 60.
60% of the time.
And last but certainly not least.
Is it Life of a Halftime Show Girl? Oh my god. I also like this idea because there was a couple of Super Bowls ago, she literally hopped off of a plane from her Eras tour in Tokyo to be in the audience and watch Travis play and win the Super Bowl. So that is something I could see having been in the works for a while. The Super Bowl thing? Possible. So there are still a couple of unsolved Easter eggs, one of them being the number 22. Right after the announcement of the New Heights podcast, there was a playlist on Spotify that was posted up on billboards in Nashville and New York. Nashville and New York might be something too. Do you see how it gets in your brain? And you're like, wait a minute, why those two cities of all the cities? God, it'll drive you crazy. It'll drive you nuts. Another one that has not been solved yet is the Spotify playlist and the number 22. There was these playlists that were posted at the same time of the announcement of the podcast, and on it there were 22 songs. It started with 22,
Which was, of course, added 13 days before the rest of the songs.
and it was an hour and 22 minutes long. We still haven't figured out what that one is, because there are specifically going to be 12 tracks. She did say that.
But then again, she also included a big old Pinocchio. So she could be lying about any and all of this.
So we still have a couple of unsolved Easter eggs. There's a bunch of plaid that's been all over the place, a bunch of animals as well.
We already know that Sabrina Carpenter's going to be on it, and she was already on the Eras tour. But maybe Benny Blanco, too, because he was referenced a couple times.
If you also would like to suffer with me, here are some that I haven't figured out yet. There's something with little woodland creatures, it seems
She's
like, and
scampering
scampering,
We're not quite
maybe,
scampering
as well
yet.
as the sideways braille thing. I think might be a actual Easter egg that nobody's cracked yet.
Or what that thing is above that doorway, in under that dimly lit flickering light over there that's upside down backwards in braille. You don't
The closest I got was the Tortured Poets background, but that when I spent so many hours transcoding it into Unicode, it just popped out for and of T at best. So it's not, it's something, but not everything.
I think there's also a potential that Travis has started getting in on the Easter egg action. This is the face of two people who just planted an Easter egg.
That even knows what those coverages are.
Yeah, I'm not ready to be an analyst right now.
That's
But-
been, yeah.
Give me
She's looking at something else.
16 months.
16 months. They're laughing. That is an Easter egg. She made a joke about something happening in 16 months. And 16 months from that day is December 13th, 2026. And I think that is when TS13 is coming. See? That happened just as I was getting ready. Right? It's fun. Oh, it's so fun. My emotional support billionaire really loves giving me a puzzle, and I like that.
The final major plausible theory is that it's the Eras tour documentary. The I Could Do It With a Broken Heart music video has Easter eggs in it, and the idea that she's going through the door on stage to backstage.
Yeah, so I guess that's it for now. Nothing else left to say, except for don't forget to like and subscribe. And check out my Patreon. Bye! Okay, I think that's good enough. Please tell me that's less than 40 minutes. I feel like I should have added more Taylor Swift puns throughout this. Saying goodbye, death by 1,000 cuts. 1,000 cuts for you.
Does this look like me? Just for the record, this is what I think I look like.
Tell me I look like her. Don't, actually. Be honest. Don't, actually.